it hurts. And I'm too sexy for Milan, too sexy for Milan, New York and Japan.
Hey, welcome back everybody to Doing It with Styles. For all of my friends in the entertainment industry here in town, I have a special guest today. I've got with me Linda Bearman, and it's Bearman, not Bearman, right?
That's right.
I made that mistake once and you corrected me immediately. So I stand corrected. And Linda, you are a manager. Is it a talent? Is it called a talent manager?
No.
No? What is the title?
I manage a few people, but primarily I'm a voiceover coach.
Okay, I was going to say that
and
too.
Consultant. I was a talent agent years ago.
Okay.
In Los Angeles and in Salt Lake City.
Gotcha. I was going to ask you the difference. What is the difference between a manager and an agent, or are they interchangeable?
No, I don't believe they're interchangeable yet. They might become that way. Back in the day, an agent, well, even today, an agent will handle many hundreds of talent.
Okay.
Whereas a manager typically a manager doesn't handle more than a dozen talent.
Okay.
Because a manager, as a talent, as an actor, you get much more personal connection. Your agent's more involved in helping you guide your career. More specifically, the difference between an agent and a manager is that if an actor has an agent and a manager, the manager is not supposed to negotiate a job.
Oh, really?
The agent is the one that does the negotiating.
Okay.
That is the other interesting thing too, is that agents, especially SAG franchised agents, they have to be licensed. They have to work under certain rules and regulations. Whereas a manager, no regulation whatsoever.
I did not know that. So as a talent agent, you have to have your license by what, SAG?
If you choose to be a SAG franchised agent,
All right.
Yes.
But you could just go out and say, I'm an agent.
Yeah, you could put up a shingle.
Yeah.
And say I'm an agent, and sometimes those are kind of scary. Sometimes it's a buyer beware industry.
Yeah, no,
okay?
I can understand that. So, is there if I was wanting to get into the industry, and would it be in my best interest to get an agent and a manager, or just an agent, or just a manager, or would it just...
I suggest to my clients who are just starting out, they're just beginning, just work with an agent.
Okay.
And then when you reach a level where you're a working actor,
Yeah.
and you're really starting to bring in income, then you might consider a manager.
Okay.
To give you that sort of special attention that an agent can't give you anymore, because they just handle so many people.
Right. Well, and as a manager and as an agent, you would handle contract negotiations, things like that?
Both agent and manager can absolutely consult on contracts.
Okay.
Again, the agent is supposed to be the one that negotiates the rate, terms, and conditions.
Right.
However, a manager can certainly oversee the contract as well.
Cool. Okay, so now let's talk about you.
Oh, okay.
So you have done a lot of voice acting.
I have.
In a number of films. Do you have a favorite, or do you have one that you hate?
Not one.
Not one? You don't have one favorite? Okay, so how many
No.
favorites do you have?
No, you know what my favorite was, really was voicing commercials.
Really?
Oh yeah, because you know what? It's 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Bada boom, bada bing. You're in the studio a half hour. You're done. Get paid.
Wow.
A nice little
payment.
payment.
That is a good industry, isn't it?
It's wonderful.
And it maybe it's just me, but it seems like more and more, in the last 20, 30 years, I guess, more and more big name people are actually doing voiceovers and commercials and things like that.
It's true.
Yeah.
And when I started in the business in Los Angeles, I came in on the tail end of what we call sort of the golden era of voiceover, in that there was just a very small group of people that did voiceover. And on-camera actors, oh, they looked down their nose
Yeah.
at anybody doing voiceover until they found out the kind of money
Yeah.
that the voice actors were making. And it was like, ha! And then it doesn't matter what you look like,
Right.
and you're in and out, and
Don't have to do hair and makeup and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Well, one of the reasons back then that there weren't as many voice actors was, I think it all comes down to Mel Blanc. I mean, that guy did everything. I mean,
he was amazing.
He was. I mean, he was the epitome of a voice actor. I mean, he could do all kinds of characters, and I had seen him on TV shows, and old Red Skelton and Jack Benny, and just plus all the cartoon characters that he did.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I had the fortunate experience to work with Mel probably about 8 months before he passed.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think maybe I didn't give him, I just would call him to say you're booked on blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But maybe his last few jobs before he passed. And then his son, what was his son's name? I can't think of his son's name, but his son thought, oh, I can do all these characters my dad did. Not true. He did a few, but
it's and I know some voice actors and some voice actor coaches from the old days. And when I say the old days, I'm talking about the 40s and 50s and my perception is that the world has changed, and the everything that you do has changed in that time. And so some of the things that I saw them teaching or pushing out there, and I'm going, that doesn't make any sense. That's not going to work today. This poor guy's going to go out there and he's going to fall on his face.
Yeah, the industry has completely changed. It used to be that your agent would call you with an audition or call you with a job. You'd schlep over to a studio, knock out the job, leave. Not anymore. No longer is the agent the gatekeeper for voiceover talent.
Really?
Voiceover talent are their own gatekeeper, and today's voiceover, because of the advancement of technology.
Oh, yeah.
So prior to COVID, voiceover talent were already working out of their home studios.
Yeah.
And as long as it's broadcast quality, it's usually not a problem. So it's a whole different ball game. Voiceover talent now have to be they have to be an entrepreneur.
And technician.
Entrepreneur, technician, and artist.
Right.
That's a lot.
It is.
It really is.
It is.
For commercial, it's not too bad. It's pretty simple, because with commercials, recording at home, auditions, they just want raw, a raw take.
Right.
But when you get into audiobooks or long form narration, a whole different story. You're
Right.
doing massive editing.
Yeah, I tried to do that once.
Audiobook?
Yeah. And after about 8 or 10 hours not getting through the first page, I thought, nope, this isn't for me.
It is really
like the little short, 30-second. I've done the commercials here and stuff, voiceovers for the commercials and things. But that takes a special talent.
It does.
And a concentration and an awareness of what you're doing that I don't think a lot of people have. So.
Yep, and I think on top of that, you've got to love it.
Yeah.
You got to love it.
Because it's boring.
I think so too. It's hard. It's so time intensive. I just say kudos to those people that are narrating books.
Right. It is because of the home studio and all of that, has the competition really gotten tough because of that?
Yes, because now we're a global industry.
Right.
We used to be little local markets, regional markets, national market. No, we're global. I have clients that have gigs in Germany, Amsterdam.
And have never been to any of those places?
No.
Yeah, they just, here's
No.
the tape and then send it in.
And they've gotten these gigs through online casting companies, which is another thing because of the growth of online casting companies. You pony up your membership money for a year, and you'll start getting auditions. So in essence, you don't need an agent when you're first starting out. Once you get some gigs and you start developing a resume, then then you want to shop for an agent, because an agent can be part of your team, help you.
Well, if for instance, what I do here, a lot of behind the scenes stuff, that I'm really busy, and so if I had someone to help me, I could do more. And I guess it would be the same way if you're a voiceover talent. If you have someone that can take care of the business side of it for you, then you can spend your time actually doing the work.
That is the voiceover actor's dream.
Yeah.
But it's not their reality.
No, I know. I know it is.
Yeah.
It is tough.
They have got to be able to know how to self-promote, have marketing skills. They've got to have a very good website
Yeah.
that at an instant glance tells you what their personality is, what they have to offer, what kind of style of voiceover, and it's got to be instantaneous. So there's a lot of branding involved in the website.
Right.
And then the demo has to really be, excuse me, but kick-ass.
Yeah.
It's not good enough to be just good, because like you said, the competitive,
It has to stand out. It has to be
really
something
has
you,
to
oh,
stand
wow.
out. And it goes back to, how are you going to stand out? Well, you're going to hear this over and over again. You have to constantly be training,
Yeah.
to keep your chops up.
Yeah. So you have a lot of classes. You teach voiceover, what advice? Now let me ask this first. In your experience, have you ever got someone in the class and you immediately think, this one's got it, they're going to go places?
Yes.
This one needs to leave now.
I don't say that, but
No, I know.
Yeah,
but,
no.
But you know.
And it's very, I can tell you, in probably the past 12 years, I've come across maybe 3 people that I've thought, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Not only do they have the talent and the skills, and they're able to absorb and interpret and execute in their performance, but they're very intelligent people, and they have a drive and a discipline, and because of that, those aspects, that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
They'll go places.
Well, I would think that you would have to have a passion for what you're doing to be able to survive, because there is a lot of rejection, and we discussed this a little bit before the show, that just because you do not get a part, or just because you're not chosen, doesn't mean that you're not good. It just means that you're not what they're looking for today, but you may be tomorrow. So, and to be able to accept that has got to be tough.
And that's where you've got to learn to somehow develop that tough skin,
Yeah.
and know that as a voice actor, your number one job is to audition. That's your number one job. That is what you do.
Right.
You're constantly
You're right.
auditioning.
Yeah.
And if you get the gig, woo-woo, celebration, right?
That's the gravy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. So in we talked about with the online auditioning for the voice actors, and that's kind of a trend in actors and actresses in front of the cameras too, is it not?
It is. They are just a little bit behind in terms of doing self-taping at home, creating their studios in home. That really started to happen with COVID.
Right.
So voiceover has been, people have had home studios for years
Oh, yeah.
before COVID. But yes, you're absolutely right. Self-taping is, and you know what's weird? I'll tell you that Kevin Costner's show Yellowstone,
Yeah.
they book right off self-tape,
Really?
which is shocking to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, well, that self-tape could have been edited a million times.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
What if that actor shows up on set and they can't perform? But I don't know. That people are.
Yeah, that
they're
kind of
booking.
surprises me, because I would think that would just be okay. If you do this right, you'll get a chance to meet the director or producer, whoever's making the decision.
And have a
right?
call back.
Yeah, you get called and say, okay, now you can come in, on to plan B, and then
Yeah, it's
Wow.
amazing to me.
that's amazing.
So that industry, that part of the industry is changing dramatically.
The whole thing is, what I do right here, what we're doing right now, 10 or 15 years ago, I could not have done. With the advent of electronics and equipments and cameras and that kind of thing has developed to where we can now produce broadcast quality videos and shows and things like that. And with the advent of streaming and Roku and all of that, we're able to get out a lot of. I read yesterday that YouTube is the #1 exposure for videos in the world.
Wow.
For one single place. There's other platforms, but YouTube is the biggest. And so, a couple years ago, if you said, "Oh yeah, I have a channel on YouTube," and people are going,
Yeah.
YouTube, yeah. But now it's a big thing. There are a lot of good content on YouTube.
How many times have you had an issue in your home or whatever, a car, an issue with your vehicle? It's like, okay, well, let's look it up on YouTube.
Everything that I have here, I learned from YouTube. I learned how to do all of this, how to get the right equipment, how to use it, all the software, everything from training videos on YouTube. And it was, but you have to, having it there and available, you still have to have a passion about it. Because if you can't absorb it, if you can't pay attention to it and incorporate it into yourself, then it's not going to do you any good.
And I also think that you need to vet. You need to vet.
Oh yeah.
Because you obviously, for voiceover and on-camera acting, there's a ton out there, but there's also a lot of misinformation, poor information.
Scams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you really need to do your due diligence and vet before you buy into, and I don't mean literally, but you buy into the concept of what's being told.
So what's your favorite part of voiceovers? Whether it's, what's your favorite part of teaching voiceover?
Oh, okay. I get a surge of energy, a supercharge when I can hear a voice talent take direction and execute an amazing read. And this is what producers I'm segueing right now. What producers are looking for today, there used to be announcers, now they're non-announcery, real, natural, conversational, relevant, as if we, know how that sounds. Excuse me. But really what they want, more than ever, is they want you to show your personality, have your personality surface in the read while you're emotionally connecting to the message.
And that's difficult if you have like, okay, we want you to audition, send us a tape, and here's 2 or 3 lines of dialogue, and this is what you're looking at, or something like that. So how do you do that?
Well, I approach it with, there's 3 things that are, in my opinion, are essential for a voiceover talent, because keep in mind, they're in their studio all alone.
Right.
Flying solo, they have no one directing them. So because of that, I say your imagination is, you've got to expand your imagination. If you're doing a spot for Comet, I'm sorry, Comet doesn't rock my boat.
Yeah.
So I'm going to substitute Comet in my mind for another product that I am enthusiastic
Right.
about, so that my delivery is going to be more convincing.
Not that there's anything wrong with Comet. We're just
we're
using
just
that as an
that as-
example. So, no cards and letters, please. So, sorry.
Exactly. Imagination, visualization is huge. See it. If you're talking about a hotel, surf and sand in Laguna Beach, see it, be there, feel the salt water, get environmentally involved. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It makes absolute sense.
So imagination, visualization, and substitution. Those are 3 key ingredients to help you bring that copy to life, and also make it more personal for you.
Right. Okay.
And on an energetic level, I do believe we will feel that. We may not, we'll hear maybe a little bit in those little nuances that kind of pop out, and that those nuances are your personality showing up, but we'll also feel it. Have you ever heard a read that you just go, wow?
Yes.
Gives you chills?
I was going to tell you that I think an actor that possesses that I think is absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if you know who he is, Doug Jones.
I don't.
Doug Jones has been in, he has almost never had a role where you could see who he was. He was in Star Trek Discovery. He played an alien character there, and he's all in makeup, and you can't tell what he looks like. He was the creature in Pan's Labyrinth. He was in just a lot of and Hellboy, and he always is in the thing about water that he was in just recently. He played this amphibious creature a few years back.
Okay.
But he has the ability, I'm amazed at his talent, because you can't really see his facial expressions or everything. Everything is done with his voice. And he has that kind of expressive voice that lets you know this is what he's feeling, this is what he's trying to convey, even though you can't see his eyes, you can't see his face, you can't, and I'm blown away by his talent. So anyway.
Well, and at the core, voice acting, that's why they call it voice acting, at the core, it does really require some acting skills.
Well, look
Even if
at
it
the
is
radio in the 30s and 40s. I mean,
yeah.
I have a bunch of old shows on our website from radio shows from the 30s and 40s, Red Skelton and Abbott and Costello, and just some of the old, and they were stories, and these people were emoting over the radio, and you could hear and feel what they were doing. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those radio dramas.
Me too. They were so much fun.
And they're coming back. Did you know that in the UK it's become huge? In
Really?
fact, the BBC, from what I read,
I'm a huge fan of the BBC.
well, the BBC they have a catalog of shows,
Really?
current shows. Yeah.
I gotta check 'em out
It's a
then.
huge new surge
Yeah.
of, Yeah.
I'm a huge BBC fan. I love, one of the things that I like about their television shows and things like that is that Hollywood will take an actress and try to make her as glamorous as possible in whatever part she's playing, and that's the focus of her character. And in the BBC or in the UK, they don't do that. The actors and actresses that are playing these parts are, to me, more believable because they could be the guy next door or the woman across the street,
Right.
or whatever, and they look like what you would expect that character to look like. And I think, to me, that's brilliant entertainment. That's something that,
Well,
you know,
it's also their concepts. I studied in the UK.
okay.
And
Excuse me.
sorry, I didn't mean to do
That's
that.
okay. There we go. You're fine now.
So
But don't ever do that again.
okay, I promise I won't. Yeah, I studied over there, so there's a whole different concept of the profession of acting. There's a whole different mindset
Yeah.
in the UK. It's taken seriously, but they're not glamorized. It's not glamorized. I think in our country we've made Hollywood and all of that sort of become our royalty,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Exactly. Yeah. And that's the studios. I mean, the studios owned you, you know, back then, and they made you. They created this persona, and that's who you were. And I think that you know, that ruined a lot of people. It
Yeah.
ruined their lives and stuff. So anyway, we don't need to go there. But so, what's the thing that you hate the most about voiceover coaching? What's the thing that you have to do, but you really don't like doing it, but you have to do it anyway? And nobody's watching, so it's okay.
No, I can't think of a thing, honestly.
Really?
No. I mean, the only thing I can think of that maybe disappoints me perhaps might be students that don't do their homework,
Yeah.
you know? Slackers. You can tell the people that are driven and those that are uncertain about whether they really want to take the plunge.
Yeah. What the hell are you doing here if you're not going to do the work, right? That's insane.
They need to know that they've got to take accountability.
Yeah.
They're responsible. They're in the driver's seat. You want to do voiceover? This is your career. You got to do what you got to do.
So, do you have any famous people that in the voiceover or the acting industry that you work with that
I did in LA. I worked with a lot of
Did you?
celebrities.
anybody that you can talk about? Oh, okay.
I
Not
can.
that I mean talk about, but tell us like.
Yeah, sure. I for a period of time, I was one of James Earl Jones's agents. He had many, and
As an actor, a voiceover.
voiceover.
Yeah,
This is all
God.
voiceover.
So, what was that like? I mean, having
Well,
somebody
I-
like with a voice that unique, and I don't think there's anybody out there that hears that voice and doesn't know who it is.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind, he was a stutterer.
Really, I did not know that.
So we were working on what was it, a Doritos spot, and it took him a few minutes to get out of
Right?
Dorito.
Wow.
He's a lovely, lovely man. I
I'm
worked,
glad to hear that
Oh, wonderful.
because I've always been such a big fan
so wonderful.
of his work.
And somebody that I know right now might be controversial with some people, but I loved working with Alec Baldwin.
Really? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. One of Mel Ferrer's sons,
Jose?
Miguel.
Oh, Miguel
Ferrer.
Ferrer, okay.
Beautiful. He did beautiful work.
When Mel Ferrer did Cyrano de Bergerac, that's one of my favorite plays. I love that play. And then I saw Gérard Depardieu do it, and I thought I thought he was a good choice for that part. And I realized halfway through the movie, it was all in French, and it was subtitled, but I already knew the play. I had read it so many times. I knew the lines. I knew what they were saying,
Yeah.
and so it was just it was magical. But it's one of those plays for me that just I thought was just beautifully written and well done. So anyway, sorry, I
Very
didn't
much.
mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. Let's see. I worked with Lily Tomlin, with
Wow.
Sandy Duncan, Jessica Walter.
Oh wow.
She was wonderful. I don't know. There's so many.
Yeah.
Oh well, and there's a whole slew of animation actors I represented, like Tress MacNeille, Rob Paulson, Jeff Glenn Bennett. They're in a ton of cartoons, but famous for Animaniacs.
Right.
And then Nancy Cartwright, of course,
Really?
Bart Simpson. Just a slew of, and then even some of, as we go back into time, I was just thinking earlier when you were talking about actors from days gone by, I was thinking of Howard Duff. Do you remember Howard
Yes,
Duff?
absolutely.
And Charles.
Wait. Wasn't he married to Ida Lupino?
Yes.
Yes, and
Yes.
they did a couple of movies or a TV show together. Yeah.
I loved working with Howard. I loved working with, Charles Durning was wonderful. Wonderful actor. Wonderful human being.
He was a war hero during the Second World War. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
He was he was part of the landing on, and I don't remember whether it was Normandy or Omaha Beach when the Allied forces landed in France. And got shot up and was, I mean, there's a whole big thing about him back then that most people didn't know about.
No.
So
And he was
him and Captain
also
Kangaroo.
a ballroom dancer.
Really?
Instructor. Remember Fred? What were those
Fred
places
Astaire-
called? Fred? Not no.
Murray,
Yes.
Arthur Murray.
He taught at an Arthur Murray
Wow.
studio in New York for
That's
years.
awesome.
Just make money, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, that's it with actors and voiceovers. I guess that a lot of them had to have real jobs until they really, and not that what they do isn't a real job, but I mean, they had to work like the rest of us, and so anyway.
Another person that comes to mind who was also quite wonderful to work with was June Foray. Do you remember her from Bullwinkle? June
Rocky and Bullwinkle?
She was a doll.
She was Bullwinkle?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Wow. She wasn't Rocky, she was Bullwinkle?
Oh wait,
She was Rocky.
Rocky.
Rocky was a squirrel.
Yeah, but she played two main characters in.
Natasha.
Thank you.
Boris and Natasha.
See, you know better than I.
Hey, I'm a movie buff, and I have just, and I love little known B, C, and D movies, that most people haven't seen, and I loved Twilight Zone, and when I was growing up, and I remember, every year they had the Twilight Zone marathon on one long weekend. I forget which ones, but and seeing all of the stars like Robert Redford in his first thing, Agnes Moorehead, and people that went on to become very famous,
Right.
and seeing their early works, and to me that was the fascinating part.
Yeah.
And seeing them and going, wow. And even George Takei from Star Trek. I first saw him on an episode of Twilight Zone with, what was his name? Big guy, tough guy all the time. Anyway, and it was just like, wow, that's George Takei, So that was cool. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so.
and Bill Shatner did a lot of voiceover.
Yeah. I can't picture him doing voiceover.
You don't want to. Nah. Yeah, it's all right. You don't
That's
need
funny.
to.
You also manage a pretty famous actress as well, don't you? Beverly Washburn.
Yes.
And for those of you who don't know who Beverly Washburn is, you're idiots. Beverly was the young girl. She started out, she was a child star. She was the young girl in Old Yeller. And even today, that movie makes me cry. You know, I'm a big animal, lover,
Right.
and so, and to see the, the people that she's worked with and the work that she's done. She's also in Star Trek and Jack Benny. The bit on the Jack Benny show was brilliant. I mean, it was so. She played such a perfect straight man for Jack.
Right.
In that,
and it was unrehearsed.
Really, I did not know that.
Yeah, it was unrehearsed, and he was a nervous wreck because he thought, here I am, oops, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Here I am working with a kid, right?
Which you're never supposed to do, kids and animals.
And what if this kid blanks out on her lines? Well, first of all, Beverly had a photographic memory.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, when she had a photographic memory and she had the ability to cry on cue. And she
I'm trying to remember something that I've seen her in that she didn't cry.
I know, because they hired her. So
Spider Baby.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
She didn't cry in that, did she?
No, but you should see all the action that's going on with Spider Baby
Really?
these days. Yes.
Wow.
The merch alone is over the moon. You can get Spider Baby a shower curtain. You can
No
get
kidding.
Spider Baby mugs, coasters.
Well, you had Lon Chaney, and what was the other guy's name? That was in that as well. The bald-haired guy that
Yeah,
played.
and I don't remember.
Played some freaky parts. So.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's a cult film that's got a really strong following.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that.
But Beverly has what, 500 plus credits.
Wow.
They're not all on IMDb, but
Yeah.
500 in TV and film combined. She's
Well, she played with Sally Field in The Gidget, right?
Patty Duke,
Patty Duke.
Loretta Young.
Yeah, that was. God, in some of the, she was in Superman,
Yes.
the TV series with George Reeves, and the Loretta Young one was awesome. She was in there. Didn't she do 2 different Loretta Youngs?
Yes.
Yeah.
The 2 different Loretta Young shows.
Right.
Right. And then Leave It to Beaver.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It goes on and on. Wagon Train.
That was
With
with Lou Costello.
yes.
Yeah.
His
That was
one and only dramatic
That was
series.
He did such a great job in that. I mean, and it was so unusual to see him. You could see that it was him in his core, but what he brought to that character was just fascinating. And they had a great chemistry together. You know, they really made both of those characters believable. And yeah, wow.
And then there's a Lone Ranger.
That's right. I forgot about the Lone Ranger. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, a ton.
And she's a sweetheart.
Very.
Yeah. Don't
very
tell her I
much.
told her that.
Okay.
No.
I won't. I don't want her to get a big head.
Yeah, too late. Yeah, no. I mean, if she hasn't got one by now, it ain't gonna. And but that's the thing about one of the things that I've been fortunate enough to meet a few people that have been famous, and everyone that I've met has been really, really nice people. You know, I haven't had the unfortunate experience of meeting one of my, heroes and they turn out to be jerks. So I'm thankful for that.
Well, I think in my experience, especially working in Los Angeles, it was the real level of celebrity actors that 99% of them were so nice and easy to work with.
Yeah.
What I found was the more difficult actors, this is a generalization obviously, but from my experience, the more difficult in terms of temperament were the actors that were getting close or climbing up to that level but hadn't quite attained that level. They could be really difficult.
You're absolutely right. I've had that because I've had reasonably famous people that have come in here that we've done a few things with, and they are very, okay, what do you need me to do? Where would I, how, what, blah, blah, blah. And then you get the ones that are on that cusp, or they think they're on that cusp, and they, well, you gotta like it this way, you gotta do this, you gotta make that, you gotta make that, and it's like, dude, I know what I'm doing. So, anyway, so, but yeah, and Beverly's awesome. Who else? You got anybody else that you're not telling people about? Or?
I remember recording. When I say recording, I'm talking about recording auditions, because back in the day,
Right.
actors would come
Right.
to the agent's office, and we agents would rotate
You're talking about for
recording
voiceover.
talent.
Right,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. So recording George Clooney was a delight. Enjoyed him. Do you remember Michael Doran? Is that
Oh,
his
yeah.
name? Michael Dorn
Yeah,
from Star Trek.
Star Trek, yeah.
Okay.
Worf.
Well, very, very handsome man.
yeah.
We were all women in this room of agents, and this was a long time ago. And the receptionist, we'd get an overhead page whenever a client showed up and signed in for their audition, and we'd get the overhead page. Michael Dorn's here. Michael Dorn. He was nice.
Yeah.
Very nice guy.
I met him at one of these Star Trek conventions.
Did you?
And he was talking with one of the other characters, and I can't remember who it was. And I was ready to approach them. I was going to approach them, but I was kind of standing back because they were having a conversation. I didn't want to interrupt. And he looked over and he saw me and he goes, well, come on over. Didn't you want to talk to us? I said, yes, but I didn't want to. He goes, this means nothing. You guys are the reason that we're here.
Yeah.
We need to pay attention to you. This guy, I see him all the time. And I thought, how great is that? You know, that they realize that the fans are,
They're the ones that.
Yeah, right. If it's not for
brought
them,
them
you're
to
not
this
going anywhere.
level.
If they don't like you, if they, whatever, and they can turn on you too. So anyway, that's the sad part. Sometimes it's unjustified, but what can you do? Sometimes we're idiots. So have you got any classes coming up? Are you getting ready to kick a bunch in the butt, or?
I'm just maintaining private sessions right now.
Really? Okay.
I'm enjoying that, working one-on-one, because it's always so interesting. Some of my clients are maybe not needing so much of a kick in the butt in terms of their skill set, but are wanting some advice or consultation on how do I maneuver
Right.
and market and get to where I want to go. Helping create a map,
Well, I think that would be, much more rewarding working
fun.
one-on-one.
Oh, yeah.
And because you can put in the time and effort and energy to that one individual while they're in front of you to help them get to wherever it is that they want to go,
it is.
rather than, a whole group of people. That's got to be tough. That's I admire anybody who can, I know a lot. I'm a lousy teacher because it's like, just do this, this, and this. Come on, why can't you do that?
I wish I could do that.
What's the matter with you?
Sometimes, yeah. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the private one-on-one. I'm also gearing up to do some performance. Speaking of radio drama, I'm going to be doing some radio drama shows up at in Seattle. Radio Enthusiasts of Puget Sound.
Wow.
I know, it's so exciting.
We have to say hello to my brother.
Yeah?
Yeah, he lives up there just north of Seattle.
Okay.
So I'll tell him you're coming, and he'll get the town ready.
Oh, wait. These scripts are wonderful.
Cool.
CBS Mystery Hour, and then listening to the recordings and hearing Orson Welles open the Campbell's, what is it, the Campbell Soup Theater, or I don't know what it is.
Right.
Campbell Theater, or something like that. But hearing all these old voices, these famous
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, there's not too many people more famous than Orson Welles on the radio.
Yeah.
Especially with Halloween coming up. So, so yeah. So, what else do you do in your spare time?
Well, let's see. Pickleball.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Isn't it all the rage?
Yes. But it just surprised me because not a lot of people talk about it, you know?
I think I've only played a couple of times, so I'm
Right.
still on a high
Okay.
about it.
So explain that to us.
It's just fun.
What is it? What is pickleball?
Oh, please. You're going to get technical on me.
No. Just tell me. What do you do?
I'm just learning how to, what is it? Rally, volley? I don't know.
Volley,
It's
back and forth.
okay. The way I understand it, it is a combination of a blend of tennis and ping pong,
Right.
right?
Right.
And it's just fun.
Cool.
So there's that. There's something I'm missing. So there's voice. Oh, I'm managing some new actors out of New Mexico, which is exciting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Voice actors or actors?
Actors on camera.
Okay, camera actors. Okay, cool.
I'm getting auditions coming to me out of a couple of different markets in the Intermountain West.
When you say auditions, are you talking about requests for auditions? Or
I know
people
a
who are
couple of
auditioning?
casting directors, and they've put me on their list, and so I'm getting breakdowns.
Oh, cool.
Not a lot,
Yeah.
but a carrot here, a carrot there, and so that's kind of fun. And I've been seeing the breakdowns, and I'm thinking, well, this is how Dawn came about.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I know people. I hate typing back, don't have anyone to submit. And I thought, this is crazy. I know good actors, and they're auditioning out of their homes.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where they are.
Well, and if you've got anybody that needs a place, I'm happy to help out here. So.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
That's wonderful.
So we're kind of running out of time. Is there anything that you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
Yes.
Okay.
I was invited to be a juror for the 2022 SOVAS. It's SOVAS, which is Society of Voice Arts and Sciences. Their 2022 awards this year, which means I'll be listening to probably anywhere between 80 to 90 commercial voiceover demos, and then 80 to 90 narration demos, which I did last year. Which I did last year, and it was so much fun. I loved it because, John, the talent that's out there.
Listen, I've said that for a long time, and I've always wished that there's so much talent out there, and I always wish I had some way to get that talent exposed, or it's amazing.
It is.
And it's especially in this town, there are so many. Anyway, it just. So when I hit the lottery or something like that, then I'll create something. So.
Well, what I want to share about SOVAS is that it is the only nonprofit organization that's been established. They're in their 9th year. That's solely dedicated to the voiceover industry.
Wow.
Engineers, producers, ad execs.
So not just the talent.
Not just the talent.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think they do fabulous work. They offer every few months a free webinar, and the organization is just really credible.
Great.
It's
always nice when you can be associated with somebody like that, because there are, we said earlier, a lot of scams out there, and
way too many.
So what advice would you give someone that wants to get into voiceover or voice acting?
Well, the first thing is to get into a class, learn the craft. You can't run until you learn how to walk.
Right. How does improv? Do you think that's
huge.
A valuable tool?
Huge.
Okay.
Yes. After you've created your voiceover skill foundation.
Right.
Then absolutely improv, absolutely.
Cool.
Producers love to know that you've done improv.
Great.
You know, I don't know if you know this name, Tom Sharp. Tom Sharp used to work for an
think so.
ad agency in Michigan. This was in the 80s and 90s and into 2000 also. He started voicing or doing the scratch tracks for some of the commercials out of his ad agency. Well, the scratch tracks were so good, he just thought, maybe I should be a voiceover talent, right? Oh, long story short, he becomes a megastar in our industry. Nobody knows the name, but you would recognize the voice. And he had the knack for going into a session or audition, either one, and you just got Tom Sharp, and he would just roll sometimes with ad libs, and a lot of the time with ad libs, and he'd bring so much more to the copy than was there. So much so that we had to start charging an additional fee when he got booked. Okay, is Tom booked? Is this scripted? Secondly, are you going to be looking for him to add any creative content?
Right.
You want Tom's, okay, we're charging extra for creative.
Gotcha.
And he was brilliant.
You know who my favorite voiceovers always was the guys at the beginning of the movie. When they were or in the trailers, you know, when they would talk about the movie and, you know, aliens come down and, you know, and all of that stuff. And that was always cool. So, and it seemed like it was the same guy that did all of them.
Are you talking about, you're not talking about the voice of God, Don LaFontaine?
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Don had his own ad agency.
He was the guy.
He had his own ad agency. He started voicing some stuff and went, yeah, maybe I should be doing this as well. And turns out he did what, 80% of all movie trailers? He had a driver, a limo taking him to sessions. Who wants to drive in LA? You know? Oh, yeah.
Not
and
anymore,
he also was a wonderful, nice man.
That's great.
Yes.
Yep, we need more people like that.
He was.
So, unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap this up.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you
good.
so
I'm glad.
much.
Did you have a good time?
Absolutely.
Good, good.
Thank you.
Anytime. You know, you're always welcome here.
Thank you.
So, and hey, you guys, thank you for watching. Thanks for supporting the studio here at WWDB TV. Don't forget, we've got our YouTube channel, we got the website, and we have our Roku channel. And on the Roku channel, be sure to check out Double Exposure. That's some of the music videos I've done for my therapy to keep me from climbing up on the clock tower. Anyway, and don't forget, this Saturday I'll be doing a book signing over at Borders on Rainbow here in Las Vegas.
What? You wrote a book?
No, I just go over there. I have a table that I set up, and if you buy a book at Borders, I'll sign it for you.
Oh.
So if you're going to do it,
Clever.
do it with styles.
Nice work, John.